All right, what's going on, everybody? Obviously, the final episode of Dandadan Season 2 came out, and yeah, everybody's got some questions, everyone's got some reactions, because, yet again, Science Saru, the devils that they are, the devious, dastardly bastards that they are, they ended on another cliffhanger. Not only that, it was probably, today's cliffhanger was probably the worst between the two cliffhangers. It's crazy, so we gotta talk about it. We got Eden's in chat. What's going on, Eden's? Let's go season 3 of Dandadan. I mean, I think we all knew Dandadan was gonna get a third season. I mean, that's a conversation I'd like to have after the recent Demon Slayer stuff, but I want to see what everyone is expecting and what everyone thinks, but we'll get to that in a second. We got Guns in chat. How you doing, Guns? People chatting before. Zachary said today's episode was a 12 out of 10 episode. Yeah, the last few episodes have been good. There's some comments to be made about the amount of filler and the way they paced out the last few episodes, but I think it was reasonable. I don't think it was unreasonable, but great minds will disagree, so to speak, on how they could have ended the season, because they could have ended it later in the manga. Like, they could have adapted more stuff, but they drew out this fight, and then they also added, because I was looking through the earlier episodes, it also ended where it did today because of the like 5 to 10 minutes of filler that they added for Kinta when they sort of retconned the story to basically say that Kinta was there for like every romantic moment of Okarun and Momo, which is crazy. Excuse me. I personally don't like the cliffhanger. I feel like they should use the Kerr introduction as the cliffhanger. That's what I was kind of hoping for, to be totally honest. I was hoping that they were gonna adapt like another chapter or two, and instead of ending on Vamola, they would end on, and I won't spoil too many manga fans, but basically the scene where, do I have something on my, oh, that's the straw. I'm like, what the hell is sticking out here? Here, we'll move it over here. I thought they were going to end it on the scene where they teased the upcoming villains. So I was slightly disappointed, but I liked the way it was done. Everyone in chat, if you have seen today's Dandadan episode, scale of 1 to 10, how did you like the episode? And how did you like the introduction of Vamola? We got Oscar in chat. Oscar, I know, since you're a Dandadan fan, I know you're gonna have, unless you haven't seen the episode, but I know you're gonna have some thoughts on today's Dandadan episode. Noe Laura said, I know it was gonna end on that kiss. I was like half expecting it to, you know, earlier in the season. Prior to like the last 2 or 3 episodes, I would have said it was 50-50, but once we hit like the last couple of episodes, it was pretty clear where they were going to end it. Yeah, Oscar said it, Dandadan ended. Let's look at Twitter. Have they already announced when the new season is coming? Excuse me. Dandadan Season 3 officially announced from a couple of accounts. Again, pretty reasonable. Let's see. I thought they'd have the next arc villains as an end. Again, also was expecting that myself. Season 3 in late 2027. Yeah, that's what some people are saying. Basically, the first 2 seasons were really like 2 cores and they had them prepped up. So now there's going to be like at least a full year. So a full year would be 2026, fall 2026. So if you do a year and a half, that would be like mid 2027. So it depends on how far ahead they're prepped, but I don't know. Let's go. No. Okay, I guess not. Here we go. Is it gonna work? I'm on the official website and it's very laggy. I don't know why. Okay, that doesn't want to work. We're not gonna mess with that. So there doesn't seem to be a date yet, but people are saying 2027. I hope it comes out. I think they should either do next fall, so fall of 2026, right? So October 2026, or I think they should do spring 2027. I think summer 2027 would be kind of pushing it. I think spring would be good because depending on the year, there's actually a surprising lack of stuff in the spring. Like spring's usually like, okay. Winter is hit or miss. This winter is a big hit. Last winter had some big anime, but was admittedly lacking. So I think either next October or spring 2027. One of my thoughts on the JJK spinoff, I have not touched it yet. I plan on reading it soon. Possibly making a video, but I don't know. Just like solo leveling 2027. Yep, they're also doing a Ghost in the Shell. Yep, that'll be interesting. That's actually a good point. Because that'll determine when Dandadan comes out. Because Science Saru is not a big studio. So they're doing one project at a time. Let's see. Is this it? Yeah, here we go. So on Mal, Ghost in the Shell is just scheduled for 2026. So Ghost in the Shell is not coming out in the winter. The fact that we don't have a date yet tells me it'll either come out, I'm guessing either spring 2026 or summer 2026. So at the very earliest, no earlier than I'd say October 2026. But even that, considering Ghost in the Shell, that seems kind of early. Then again, I have no idea. But considering Ghost in the Shell is supposed to come out 2026, 2027 Dandadan is looking more likely. 2027 just feels more realistic. Don't know how far they are in production. Well, I would have said 2026, but I completely forgot that they're doing Ghost in the Shell. And there's only like 50 of them. So, granted, they always collab with other studios depending on who the producer is. So for Ghost in the Shell, they're working with Production IG, Kodansha, and Bandai. So they're probably getting some help on Ghost in the Shell. Whereas with Dandadan, let's check out Dandadan. Dandadan is... Oh, they actually have a ton of producers for Dandadan. So, I don't know. It depends. It really depends on like what kind of manpower they have on these projects. But I think 2027 is more realistic for sure. I'm more excited for Ghost in the Shell. Ghost in the Shell, I'm pretty hyped for. Dandadan season 3 is going to be amazing, but I think like a year off from Dandadan is probably a good thing. Just to like let it, you know, let people take a break, and when it comes back, it'll be that much better, if that makes sense. The new TJL chapter? What the heck is TJL? Oh, JoJo Lands. New chapter just dropped. I have to wait 60 days. Yeah, especially with something like JoJo Lands, I'm just letting it build up. I'll probably read it at some point. Read it again, I should say, at some point. But it only comes out so often, so there's not such a rush to read every chapter. They're also reading Sonda anime as well. Yeah, they have a couple other projects. They have Sonda, which I've never heard of. Everyone in chat, if you've read the manga for Sonda, I remember seeing the announcement for this. So it's like an action mystery series, sort of. I don't know. Has anyone read the Sonda manga? How would they rate it? And then they also have Jadugar, a witch in... Oh, somebody was saying this before. They have a witch in Mongolia. So they have 3 anime that are supposed to come out in... Right? Yeah, those are anime. Those are not movies. And they're like TV. So they have 3 different anime coming out in 2026. That's kind of crazy. So Science Saru is swinging big. They're not screwing around anymore. The MC can transform into Santa. That sounds like a wild story. I was kind of thinking that when I saw the cover, the poster. I was like, is that Santa? Oscar has some thoughts. Let's see what Oscar said. Yeah, it is kind of funny how Tatsu must know. Like, I'm sure he's involved, but he must be like pretty reasonably involved in the planning for each episode. So he knew ahead of time, like way ahead of time, where season 2 was going to end. So I don't know how intentional the recent manga chapter was in terms of timing, but it is crazy like how in sync the Dandadan anime and manga have been for like the last, honestly I would say the whole season, like from the time we met Evil Eye till now. So like 10 weeks, it's been like consistently in tune for at least 10 weeks for 10 episodes. I don't feel like any anime has ever done that before. Certainly not Demon Slayer, as far as I can remember. Maybe My Hero. I think My Hero has probably done it a couple of times. Black Clover might have done it once or twice. I can't remember any specific One Piece moments. No, I feel like in that regard, in that aspect, Dandadan is kind of untouched, which is awesome because it makes being an anime fan and someone who's caught up to the manga like that much more exciting. So Dandadan fans are winning as per usual. Great observation, Oscar. Yeah, I agree with Oscar. I would say season 2 was a 9 out of 10. I would love to give it a 10 out of 10. But I don't know. It's just missing that special sauce. I do like some of the filler they added. Like, and I say filler, I just mean stuff they added, right? I liked the stuff with Hayashi. Like when they added the spirits. Obviously, if you saw my video, you know, that was like a nice little touch or a nice little nod to Sinners. So I thought that was really cool. They added some additional stuff. I don't know how I feel about the stuff they added with Kinta. I also don't know how I feel about the Vamola fight being dragged out when in reality it's kind of an inconsequential fight. That being said, it's Science Saru and they're treating each scene like it's special. They're not just like rushing to get, you know, to the next point in the plot. So I'm split on that. I'm like 50-50 on that. But overall, I'd say the season is a 9 out of 10 with that like 10% being me just feeling like they could have done some things differently. Not necessarily better, just differently. My only worry is that season 3 won't adapt the entire arc. Yeah, we were talking about that last stream. We'll get to that in a second. I would rather JoJo Part 7 win Anime of the Year instead of JJK or Demon Slayer again. Yeah, that would be nice. I don't know how likely that's going to be, but that would be nice. Excuse me. There's a rumored unannounced project from Science Saru before Dandadan Season 3. That's the first I'm hearing about it. Has anybody else heard about this? I feel like with anime, you know, you hear these rumors and it's like, okay, well, can you link to something? Can you point to something? I feel like people just start rumors. I know that's the point of a rumor, but I feel like rumors go around and like nobody has anything to base it off of. It's crazy. I hope season 3 has more episodes than the first 2 seasons. Unlikely, only because they're such a small studio, and especially now, if they're trying to do 4 anime every year, then I kind of doubt it. Like if they're trying to do 1 anime for every season like they seem to be doing in 2026, I highly doubt that they will ever do a season that's more than like 13 episodes. What's going on, Zachary? How you doing? What was my favorite episode and moment from this season? I would say my favorite moment. Trying to think. I can't pick any particular one, but some moments that stick out to me. Ira doing her makeup, I don't remember that being in the manga, but I think they extended that a bit. But that was like a surprisingly nice moment. So there was that. The moment they added when Gigi was doing his training and Vamola was just there, you know, drinking boba or something, that was not in the manga, her being there, but that was a nice touch. The stuff they added to Hayashi, that was really cool. And then I'll also add the way they adapted Momo's friends, and I can't remember their names, but Momo's friends dragging Okarun to the maid cafe and that whole scene and the way they adapted that, 10 out of 10. So I would say that was probably my favorite moment, because it makes you appreciate how good the side characters are in Dandadan, which I honestly might do a video on, because I don't think enough people talk about that. If I do that video, let me know in chat, which side characters do you think should be mentioned, or which side characters have to be talked about if I'm going to talk about side characters in Dandadan. My only worry is that season 3, yep, so season 3 not adapting the whole arc, right? Demon Slayer movie changed me. Yeah, that arc is really good, and I want to talk about the movie in a second. Name an anime for an edit. Fire Force. Go make it. Hi guys, Tyler, what's going on? How you doing? Pleasure to have you. Chapter 210, we will see Count Saint Germain. Everyone's saying there was a time skip, and if we have time, I want to look back at the end of that chapter, because I didn't really see that. Like, I can kind of see it, but that wasn't really my first thought. My favorite scene from season 2 was building the robot with the power-up music in Okarun vs. Evil Eye Round 2. Okarun vs. Evil Eye Round 2 was really, really good. The last few episodes were awesome, for sure. I've seen people complaining about the slow pacing due to the anime-only scenes, but I feel like it fleshes it out more, especially with the faster pacing of the manga. I'm split on that. I'm mostly indifferent. I lean a little more towards they should have adapted like 2 or 3 more chapters, but I don't care. I don't particularly care. I feel like they fumbled the 10-gallon wiener line. I haven't seen how they did it in the dub. Although I will say, didn't they change the subtitles so that it didn't say wiener, or that it didn't say pure beef? Something like that. Queen Sensei, definitely gotta mention Queen Sensei for sure. Love it when they say, if Momo took Gigi out for tea, would it be a date? And without blinking, Okarun is like, it would not. Yeah. Yeah, the romance dynamics in Dandadan are something else. There are so many great moments this season, it was hard to choose. I think Hayashi's concert was favorite because there's no music in the manga. That song was so good. Yeah, that whole scene was awesome. Like that scene just shows like how much Science Saru really enjoys working on Dandadan. So that was nice. We got Dead Channel in the chat. Well, hello, Dead Channel. Kenta? I don't even think I consider Kenta a side character. He's not a main character, but he's like in the main party. He's like a companion, right? If you've played Baldur's Gate, I'll use that analogy. He's not a side character, but he's not like the player. He's a companion. He's a companion character. We'll call it that. Zachary says, I saw Infinity Castle on Tuesday. Clapped. Packed theater. People clapping and cheering for Akaza. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised that everyone liked that moment. I mean, people have been obsessed with Demon Slayer for years, and part of it is because of the backstories. So, not surprised. What do you think about the Momo amnesia theory? I mentioned that Monday. I said there's a decent chance that Momo came back, but now she doesn't remember anyone. And now what's going to happen is, because she doesn't know who she is, Saint Germain is going to step in and he's going to be like, oh, hey, I noticed, you know, you need help. Why don't you come with me and I'll help you out? And then that's how he sort of captures Momo and steals her powers. That's what I think could happen. I don't know what the odds are, but we'll have to see. Dead Channel, I'm not going to read that out loud for spoiler reasons, but I don't think they're even going to get there. Not even close. But in terms of cliffhangers, yeah, that would be a pretty bad cliffhanger for sure. How bad was the end of Kimetsu no Yaiba? The whole arc was great. It's like arguably Demon Slayer's best arc, but the final fight against Muzan is probably the worst final fight in anime that I can think of. Like, it's offensively bad. Oscar says my favorite episode was episode 10 when Kinta was revealed. He's my favorite character in the series, so it was great to see how much justice they did to his presentation. It was shocking to see how much they invested into Kinta stocks. Like, they did not want people to be confused about him being like a new main character, basically. Because in the manga, it doesn't become so obvious until after the stuff with Vamola, when he sticks around. It's like, oh, so he's, you know, he's sticking around. He's not going anywhere. Heard. I feel like in the anime, they really wanted to prime you up for that so that it didn't seem like it came out of nowhere. Demon Slayer beat the mid allegations. I mean, let's see what people say in that last movie when they have to fight Muzan. We got Nahush in chat. How you doing, Nahush? Long time no see. Zachary says, would you rather be a voice actor but you have to grind as background for 5 years, or a popular mangaka artist but your series falls off during the final arc? Oof. I would rather be a voice actor, to be totally honest. As much as I would love to create my own story, I would never want to make something knowing that I'm going to hate it in the end. So I would much rather be a voice actor. Plus, I mean, honestly, a 5-year grind, that's nothing. You're still getting paid, right? Even if you're not getting super popular, you still get to work with other voice actors. You still get your name and stuff. So you're not losing anything. They knew how big his fandom was. Have we done a... I can't remember. Did we do a Dandadan popularity poll? Excuse me. First popularity poll. Yeah, they only did the one. Okay. So they did a popularity poll. When was this? That was a few years ago, but the first popularity poll, Okarun was number 1, Momo was number 2, and then it goes Turbo Granny, Gigi, Ira, Seiko, Unji, Vamola, the Serpo Alien, and then Kenta. So that kind of tells you a lot about how popular Kenta is, if the Serpo Alien is more popular than Kenta. But he's more popular than Mr. Shrimp, so... Who is Reiko Kashima? Oh yeah, that was the one yokai. The, like, number 1 yokai. Yeah. But granted, that was a few years ago. Kinta has built up more stock since then. I love Vomola's design. 12 out of 10. Are we talking about anime, manga, or both? I feel like her anime design, granted, we only got like 2 shots of her. They humanized her a bit because in the manga, I feel like Tatsu tries to make her eyes more like solid black pupils. To like make her, you know, look kind of ditzier. But they humanized her a bit. They made her eyes look more anime and less, you know, big black dots. You probably won't read it anyway, but I left the comments regarding TJL. It looks like you retracted that. Yeah, it looks like you deleted that. So if you said something about JoJo Land, you might want to drop that again. Sorry. The anime? Yeah, the anime design for Vomola looks really good. It's solid. Oh, you forgot that the JoJo Land chapter dropped today? Next chapter isn't until November. Yeah, I mean, obviously I was going to talk about Dandadan today. Plus, like I said earlier in the stream, I don't keep up with the new chapters just because I'd like it to build up. I didn't think they would give such a love character a seiyuu who is practically a debut. Loved character. Although Denji also got a seiyuu for Chainsaw Man, who made his debut. Are you talking about Vomola? Didn't Vomola get... No, that was Rin. Rin got the voice of Makima. Oh, they've been doing that. You're either talking about Kinta or Vomola. What was I going to say? I don't know. Dandadan... They've been doing that recently, so I wouldn't be surprised. Kinta? Yeah, Kinta seems like a brand new seiyuu, so... Yeah, I don't know. I like the voice. It works. I haven't heard the dub voice yet. I actually want to watch this season again and watch the dub because people are hyping up the Dandadan dub. I don't know. It just seems really good. More hot springs than Dandadan? I don't think we really need any scenes like that. Imagine if Silent Saru got Taylor Swift to do Rin's singing voice. I don't know if I'd want that because then I feel like we would get an obnoxious number of anime tourists, which I already do not like. I love that her antenna light up in the anime. I have no idea how it works, but it looks awesome. It works because alien powers. That's why. I do like that. I don't know how often they're going to make them like lit up, but I think it looks really cool. The dub is really good. Dub better than sub. Say less. I'll have to check it out. Meg the Stallion instead? I don't know how much people would like Rin sounding like Meg the Stallion. But I like the bold ideas for sure. People got to get over all dubs are bad. That hasn't been true for a long time now. I mean, we saw the stats, right? Like 80% of anime viewers on Netflix watch dub rather than sub. So, I really don't think... I would make a video on that, but I don't think that's really... It's kind of a non-problem for people because, I mean, chat just proved it. It's like 50-50. I like sub more than dub. I'm a sub watcher, but Dandadan's dub is way better. Wow. Okay. Okay. Yeah, exactly. Oscar, you read my mind. I wasn't trying to say it, but yeah, that's how I feel about hot spring scenes in Dandadan. Dead Channel said, what do you guys think of the design of Amola in the anime? I prefer, so Dead Channel prefers the manga. I prefer the manga. I do like, part of it is just Science Haru's art style with these characters and the look they're going for. It's kind of hard to compare to Tatsu because Tatsu's character designs are unparalleled. That being said, it works. I just prefer the manga better. Russia or North Korea for vacation? Russia. So here's what I want to talk about next. Let's talk about movies. And here's what I mean. So obviously, if you're unaware, Demon Slayer, there is not going to be another season of the Demon Slayer anime. They're adapting the final arc in 3 movies, one of which was the first Infinity Castle movie. And studios, like, now that's a consideration for studios, right? Because Demon Slayer did the whole, hey, we're gonna do a movie that's just, you know, a bunch of episodes, and then we're gonna show those episodes again when the anime starts. And it worked really well for them, and then other studios started doing it. More recently, Science Haru with Dandadan, right? So that's a thing. Now you have Demon Slayer adapting a whole arc, a whole final arc specifically, over the course of several movies, and saying, yeah, the anime's over, right? So let's talk about how likely that is with Dandadan. So if we look at Dandadan, we're on chapter like 72, right? 72? 72. Excuse me. So we're on season 2, and it's chapter 72. So at 12 episodes a season, roughly 35 chapters a season. All right, so what's 35 times 3? 35 times 3 equals 105. Where does Space Globalists end? Space Globalists ends around... Hold on, I feel like my math isn't mathing here. Let's try that again. No, that works, that works. So what's... Yeah, no, I'm goofing. So plus 72, 177. So here, let's do some quick math here. So we're on the end of season 2 is chapter 72. So let's say we get 3 more seasons, season 3, season 4, season 5. At the rate it's going, Dandadan will adapt roughly 35 chapters a season, which means if we stay that course, season 5 would end around chapter 177, which would bring us to the end of the Donmara arc and into this current arc, whatever we're calling it. So here are my thoughts. Well, I'm just going to pose a question to everybody. What are the odds now that we have Demon Slayer doing it, right? Adapting its, you know, the remainder of Demon Slayer in 3 movies. What do we think about the odds of Science Saru doing that with Dandadan? And also, would you even want that, right? Like, would you want Science Saru to do what Ufotable is doing? I'm genuinely curious to see what you guys have to say. Joke's on you. Once that final movie drops, we're getting all 3 put into a final season in 2031. Honestly, I would not be surprised. Ira is dead. She was in the house when it exploded. Yeah, I don't remember the house exploding in the manga. But obviously Ira is not dead, but it is kind of funny how they did that. Science Saru should do Rin's arc as a movie. Rin's arc is not even that long. I don't even think it's 15 chapters. It is surprisingly short. Excuse me. They'll probably do a movie for Space Globalist if they split it into 2 parts. I kind of doubt it. Channing Tatum as Count Saint Germain. He was good in Demon Slayer. I'd be down for it, but that'd be kind of a commitment on his part. Yeah, I don't know. When will you think season 3 will release? Everyone's saying 2027. My guess is probably spring or summer 2027. Excuse me. What about Tom Brady voicing a character in Dandadan? Well, as you can tell by my hat, I love the Patriots, so I would be all for that. I just don't know how likely it is that Tom Brady will be making his anime debut. Demon Slayer, Attack on Titan, Chainsaw Man have all done it, so I can see that being the new meta. Yeah, I don't know. Considering how well the movie sold, it's possible Science Saru will be inspired by it, but would I want that? Absolutely not. Yeah, it's just, I don't know what they're gonna do, because Dandadan is gonna be like 300 chapters, and again, at the rate they're going, they're only adapting 35 chapters or so a season. So they're gonna hit season 5 and still only be about halfway through the story. So I don't know what they're gonna do. What would suck is if they just stopped like at season 5, you know, halfway through the manga, and then like, all right, that's it, we're done. Thanks for watching, everybody, right? Kind of like what they did in the 90s and 2000s. What they would have to start doing is probably after season 3 is start doing 2 cores a season. So by the time you get to like season 5, you're pretty much all done, right? And then there's like maybe 1 more season. But again, I don't know. I feel like we're in uncharted waters here. How much money do you think the Reze movie will gain? And will there be such phenomenal success as Demon Slayer? I don't think it's going to be even close to Demon Slayer. Let's just make sure we're clear on that. If anything, I think Demon Slayer is probably going to get in the way of Chainsaw Man, because, you know, people who are like saving up for that 1 movie ticket for the month are not now going to go see Chainsaw Man if they already saw Demon Slayer. That That being said, I do think it's going to do well. I think they've hyped it up a lot. I think the Fujimoto stuff is beginning more and more popular since the end of Chainsaw Man Season 1 with the one-shot stuff like Look Back. Look Back did miracles for Fujimoto stocks, and Amazon and, you know, everyone else involved is like, okay, more Fujimoto. Like we're all hands on deck for Fujimoto is what they seem to be doing. So I think it'll do well, but how well? I don't know. I think the global release over the course of a month is gonna bite it in the ass. But I say that, and they also did that for the first Dragon Ball Super movie, and Dragon Ball Super broke all kinds of records. So I don't know. It's 50-50. Who should voice Zuma's voice? I don't know. That's a good question. I don't really have anyone in mind. It was a callback to episode 1. That makes sense. That makes sense. So it was more of like an aesthetic thing. Again, Science are taking some creative liberty. Yeah, a Dandadan movie would look really good, but the question is, would you rather have movies and not weekly episodes? That's the thing. Because here's the thing, you have to pay for these subscription services, but you don't have to pay money to watch Dandadan specifically. If they do movies and no anime, well, now you have to pay whatever, $20 to go watch Dandadan, and then do that conceivably 3 times. What do you think will happen in the next chapter of the manga? Will Momo get amnesia? I think there's a strong chance Momo will get amnesia. Season 3 should be 16 episodes. Season 3, I don't care how long it is. I just want it to adapt the entirety of Space Globalists. I do not want it to end in the middle of it. I think that would be a terrible point to stop. Dandadan will end in 100 chapters. I mean, I just think that's what's on the horizon. Most manga are ending around like 300, 325, 350 chapters. That's what Undead Unluck did. That's what Fire Force did. It's a proven number. Tested number, I should say. It would take longer to make a 24 episode season. True, but you could argue that's why Science Saru is putting out these 3 other anime, because they're like, all right, well, while we work on Dandadan, here's other stuff. Gonna be there day 1 for Chainsaw Man. Fair. Dandadan season 1 could have been 24 or 25 episodes. They likely cut it to save time and money. I don't, my big question is, like, how are they gonna pace the rest of the anime? Because again, they're only doing 12 episodes a season, 35 chapters a season, and there's gonna be conceivably 300 plus chapters. So it's like, what are you gonna do? Make like 8 seasons? That would be like Attack on Titan level. Dandadan is going band for band with One Piece in some regards, yes, but One Piece will win that battle for sure. One Piece should make God Valley a movie. I genuinely would. I really don't feel compelled to watch anime movies. If they made like a full movie about God Valley, take all my money. Take all my money. Put all the best anime illustrators, animators. Do all the stuff. Yes, 100%. Genius idea. Dude, when we get the final season of anime, some of us will probably have families even if we're young now. That's crazy. If we're talking about One Piece, yeah, that's wild. I mean, One Piece anime, like I'm more or less as old as the One Piece anime, or the manga, I should say. So it is crazy just to see how old that anime is. I'll be in college next year, early 2027. That'll be an exciting experience for college. It's funny, you finish college and then you look back on stuff and you're like, oh yeah, that was back when I was in college. Like Dragon Ball FighterZ, I remember came out my sophomore year of college. So whenever I think about Dragon Ball FighterZ, I think about playing it in like the residence hall back when I was in college. We like took a TV and put it in like the common room, and like people were going to town on Dragon Ball FighterZ, hosting like casual tournaments. This is a really good comment from Guns. It's crazy how we don't know anything about the One Piece remake from Wit Studios. Yeah, there has been a surprising lack of news about the Studio Wit remake of One Piece. I just don't think they're in a huge rush to do that, especially since they seem to be putting all their resources into season 2 of the live action, especially since they lost one of the showrunners. So, yeah, that'll be interesting how they time that one. Dandadan gang in college. I kind of hope that's what we see at the end of the series, kind of how they do time skips for other series. I think that would be really cool. Wit Studio One Piece remake, I think was 2023, but don't quote me on that. Dandadan should have a non-canon movie, kind of like how older anime have non-canon movies. I mean, we say older anime, but it wasn't that long ago. I mean, My Hero Academia still makes non-canon movies. Black Clover made a non-canon movie, right? How does Kenta get inside empty space, but he can see yokai? That is a good question. I don't know. It was in 2023. Okay, that's what I thought. Should Nintendo remaster the Wii? I don't think they should remaster the Wii, but they should put Wii games on the Nintendo eShop, which I kind of think they're gonna do. I would be shocked. Wait, didn't they just announce a remaster of Mario Galaxy? Or am I crazy? Did I imagine that? All MHA movies are canon. Yeah, that's why I said non-canon, right? Because it's not manga stuff, but it's not filler, right? It's in between stuff. What was I gonna say? They should do I'm gonna say filler, but when I say filler, I just mean not in the manga. Just subscribed. Well, thanks for the subscription. They should do a movie. This is my idea for like the perfect Dandadan movie. They should do a Dandadan movie after the Dawn Mara arc. In this current arc where they're fighting all the like random lackeys of Count Saint Germain, they should do a movie where Count Saint Germain is kind of in the background, but he's not the main villain, and he tells someone to go fight the Dandadan crew, and he has his own like posse of villains. So it's a group of villains that aren't in the manga but are like kind of tied to the manga, right? So to compare it to another movie, it would kind of be like what was the My Hero movie called with 9? What was that? What movie was he in? Heroes Rising. So they should do Heroes Rising, but for Dandadan, right? Have the main villains in the background, but basically make a villain that's like a diet version of Count Saint Germain, or like one of the lackeys, and then that lackey has like his own group of villains. I think that would be really cool. How much time have Momo and Okarun been together in their manga universe? It depends on what you define as together, because I think the whole plot is taking course over like a year or so, maybe like 6 months, something like that. That would be sick. I think that would be really fun. And then of course you do the classic anime movie thing, give Okarun and Momo like movie specific powers, right? Kind of like how they did with Black Clover when Asta got like a movie specific transformation. Will Okarun get his Turbo Granny powers back? I think it's only a matter of time. I just don't know how that's gonna play out. Imagine if they made a canon Dandadan movie that told Turbo Granny's story before she became a ghost. That would be crazy. I'd pay for that. I do think a like prequel movie would be really cool. I just don't know what you would make the subject of the movie, because if you do a prequel, then it can't be about Okarun and Momo. But it's like, who do you make the hero of that movie? Because for better or worse, Turbo Granny is the mascot, so it's kind of hard to make her the main character. It's like Disney, when Disney makes a movie and then it works, and then they make like 2 sequels, and then by the second sequel, the third movie, everyone's sick of that series, and then once everyone's sick of that series, they make a movie about the mascot, right? And then they make the movie about the mascot and everyone's like, who the f was this for, right? Did we all rate Dandadan's last episode? I would give it, today's episode, I'd give it like a 8 out of 10. I think that's fair. Somebody said 12 out of 10. On the topic of Momo losing her memories, definitely possible, but I feel Tatsu has stretched out Okarun and Momo trying to admit to each other long enough. I think you're reading the wrong manga. I think Tatsu will milk that cow for as long as he can. But I definitely agree that it's been dragged out a bit longer than fans would like to see. Could it be Turbo Granny sent Okarun the Ogre Hammer, Ogre Club? It was shown in a special chapter where she was searching. It could be. I'd have to look back. Well, how are we doing on stream time? Where are we at? All right, well, we're just over an hour, so that is going to be it for today's stream. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. It was a nice way to wrap up Dandadan Season 2. Unfortunately, we don't really get to talk about the anime for a while on our Thursday streams, but Thursday streams will continue. Make sure to check out the Vamola video / Okarun video that I uploaded just now. I uploaded it about an hour ago, so make sure to watch the new Dandadan video after the stream. There'll be another video this weekend also about Vamola that I think everyone will enjoy. And then there will be, for all of you patient Chainsaw Man fans, there will be a Chainsaw Man video either Sunday or Monday. The upload schedule has been very, very weird. It's all over the place, but I appreciate everyone being patient as I sort it out. But a lot of fun videos this weekend. Great stream today. Next stream will be Monday, same time as usual. Thank you, everybody, and I'll see you next week for Dandadan. Peace.